I'm gonna take a short break to get a drink of water. Because I am parched, but I will be right back. See, what's funny is I don't even have to film this. I don't have to say that I'm taking a break. I could just cut and then come back. But I like wasting your time, on my storage space, on my laptop, and also my phone. Because this camera angle, this is from my laptop, that's why it's kind of shitty. But I kind of like that shitty vibe. Do you like my hair today? I tried to tease it, but I just pissed it off. Oh, don't look at all the stuff on that bed. That's all the stuff that was on my desk until I cleared it out. So that I could film. Don't look at that, just look at me. This is my setup, by the way. This is how I'm recording top down. On the sketchbook. Moby Dick. Herman Melville. The worst book ever written, in my opinion. There was like a 5-year period where every single summer I was like, this is a summer. This is a summer I'm gonna read the whole way through Moby Dick. And I read a lot of books. I loved reading when I was younger. Like my favorite fucking thing. My favorite. Anytime I ever had a good time in primary school and high school was those like quiet reading times we had in English where everyone just shut up and read a book. I fucking loved it. Shut up and read a fucking book. I'm just telling you my reading experience. My years and years of reading experience. Before I tell you that I don't like Moby Dick. If you don't know what a wheel is, maybe it's a good book. Maybe you need those 10 chapters of Herman Melville describing what a wheel is. Maybe you need those extra chapters of sea shanties. Just chapters filled with sea shanties. There's no plot. People like it because they're like, oh, it's a metaphor for God. Maybe in the simplified version. I don't need 500 pages, which, by the way, it seems like it's 1 billion pages. Like I said, 5 years. Every summer. 5 summers. I could only ever get to the middle of Moby Dick, or maybe just a quarter of the way to the end. Before closing it, I'm done. I'm done. No more sea shanties. No more explaining to me what a whale is. I don't care. There's no plot. You're on a boat. And you hate it. That's great. Men are drawn towards the sea. That's fine. And then after I gave up on Moby Dick, I could read some Tolstoy. And if I didn't give up on Moby Dick, I wouldn't have found out. First of all, Tolstoy scares me. Leo Tolstoy? Anna Karenina? He scares me because he writes like he is the characters. Like, there'll be fucking 40 characters in his novel, and he will write them all as though he not even knows them, but is them and is in their head. And what psychopath is able to do that? He has like a talent, and it scares me. He scares me. Leo Tolstoy, you're like insane. What kind of notes I wonder what kind of notes he had when he was writing his books. Like, it must have been like 4 rooms of notes. He probably lived in a fucking mansion, right? Maybe not. Maybe he was poor. I don't know anything about Tolstoy. I'm looking over at my copy of Anna Karenina right now, and I can tell that he didn't finish it. I got like a quarter of the way, not a quarter of the way through, like 2/4 of the way through. 3/4 was what I meant to say. I'm sorry, I've dyscalculia. That's dyslexia with only numbers. I'm actually really good with the written word. But I can't count to 10. 3/4 of the way through, because see, there's 4 in a quarter in quarters. That's dividing by 4. I didn't know that. like I knew it, but the word quarter just always confused me. It was something that I was like retaught over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I think it was only when I was 16 that the idea of a quarter like stuck in. Because if you just tell me numbers, but you don't give me like a visual representation of what these numbers are, then I'm not going to know what the fuck you're talking about. You know, I'm like a baby. You can't just say the number 5 because the number 5 doesn't exist, so it's nothing in my head. 5? What is that? That's nothing. It doesn't even exist. 5 it's invisible. You're making it up. But if you say like 5 cars, 5 people, I can imagine it, and therefore it's easier. It's literally that trick you use with 3-year-olds whenever you're trying to teach them math. If you have 10 bananas and you remove 5 bananas, how many bananas do you have left? I need that. I remember doing math tests and having to draw dots on the page so that I could see the numbers. They were represented by dots on the page because I just couldn't imagine the number 12. It's not real. But words are real. They have definitions, they mean things, they have associations, and even the associations are loose. It's art. It can be whatever you want. I'm not saying math isn't an art. I'm just saying you're giving numerical values to things on the earth because it's like the human way of trying to understand the earth. Look at geometry, for example. It's a thing that already exists, and humans are just trying to understand it through math, and I get that. But also, all math is like a little bit wrong. That's like a fact. All math is like a little bit wrong because we don't actually know anything about the universe. Human minds are very small. What makes you think you're gonna ever know more than what you are? You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You have always existed within the context of all in which you live, or whatever that quote is. Anyway, I like short books. Okay, I like short books. Not because I'm dumb. Not because I can't read big words. I like short books with big words. I just don't have the patience. And the longer it takes me to finish a book, the more my confidence in my ability to finish the book drains. Is drain a word? Drains. It disappears. I have no confidence by the middle of this long ass book that I'm ever going to finish it. But if it's like The Great Gatsby, I'm excited to read it. I love The Great Gatsby. I love The Great Gatsby. Read it every year. It's so good. I'm sure it's like a book you read in high school, but I never read it in high school because I wasn't allowed to do English literature in high school because I had to do chemistry instead because not enough students chose English literature. And they were like, sorry, if not enough students chose it, then we just have to get rid of it as a subject. Excuse me? Isn't it already in the curriculum? Isn't it already in the curriculum? But they said no. So there was never any assigned reading in high school. I read on my own time. What was I talking about? Oh, I was going to take a break and drink some water. I like Sartre. I just want to talk about books now. I like Sartre. I like Nausea. In high school, that was one of my favorite books, along with The Great Gatsby. It hasn't changed. And Sartre, he's... So if you were to Google him, right, it would say philosopher. He's a philosopher. Philosophical literature. He's also French, I think. French, German, maybe French, European. He's French, I think. Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre. I like him because I think he's funny. He writes these miserable little characters who hate themselves and don't understand the world that they live in. And the descriptions, there's always a scene. First of all, he describes women like they're aliens, and that seems misogynistic to me. I don't know, maybe he's never seen a naked woman before. I don't know it, I don't know him. But I just think it's really funny the way he writes women and the way he writes himself, well, the main character. But it seems like a self-insert because every time one of his main characters are looking in the mirror, there's always that scene where one of his characters are looking in the mirror and they're describing themselves, and they're like, I am a disgusting little piece of shit. My fucking hair. I look like a goblin gremlin. There's always that scene in his books, and it's so fucking funny to me. I just like the way he writes. What's his philosophies? I don't know. I don't think they've ever been laid out in his books, at least in a way that I could understand. I never studied his work. I don't know. I just read his books. I don't even know what his politics are. All I know is his books. Right next to me I have The Age of Reason and I have Nausea. Funny. Comedy. It's a laugh. To me. I didn't know who he was until I went to a secondhand bookstore and I picked up the books. And I never went past that. There's like a little blurb in the start of one of the books that explains who he is, and it's like, he grew up in France. Wonderful, I don't care. He was a teacher of what? Could you imagine that? Like, I just imagine him as this tiny little miserable man, and it makes me giggle. And reading his books, it just makes me laugh, imagining him sitting there writing them. I don't know anything about him. All I know is it makes me laugh. And it's entertaining. His books are entertaining in that way. I'm going to take a quick break. And we're back. And we're back. I changed my shirt. The last one was ugly. It wasn't ugly, but this one's also kind of ugly. It's just plain blue. Because I like that it like reminds me of the clothes that they wear whenever in the movie The Matrix, whenever they go into the real world and everything's kind of grunge and dirty. I love the fashion whenever they go into the real world. I hate the Matrix fashion. Everything's like leather and shit, like overdone. I wish whenever people focus on fashion in the Matrix movies, they focused on the real world, like whenever they're not in the Matrix and they're all wearing tattered clothes. Because that's fucking delicious.